Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Michael Francisco. I'm one of the international admission counselors. And today I am joined by my amazing colleague, Jessica Juarez from Housing and Residential Education, and our wonderful student, Julie Doe, who's currently studying on our campus. I'd like to invite Jessica to do a quick introduction and her relationship to DU.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Jessica. I'm the housing coordinator here for DU Housing, and I'm mainly centered in operations. So anything really related to administrative uh, factors within our department, that's usually my department. We want to have Julie introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Julie Doe, and I'm currently a sophomore here studying at the University of Denver, majoring in criminology and communication. I also work with Michael as a global ambassador. I'm currently a social media lead for our global ambassador program, and also work as a desk assistant for the housing department.
Thank you, Jessica and Julie. Basically, today our goal is just to provide an overview of our housing application process, share some important deadlines regarding the application itself and moving to campus. And lastly, and also importantly, we'd like to offer you a glimpse of what it's like to live here at the U. So to kick things off, I'd like to invite Jessica and just share kind of an overview in terms of how can an international student apply to live in one of the UU's residence halls?
Yeah, that's a great question. First and foremost, students have to be fully admitted students at DU. If that process isn't completed, unfortunately, as much as we would love to house you, we would not be able to process you within our software and system. So first things first, you need to be a fully admitted student in order for us to make sure you don't have any issues logging into and applying for housing at DU. And if I don't know, I'm available to share my screen. I do kind of want to go over our website because I feel that's the best way for us to kind of navigate how to apply, where to look at residencies, and kind of how to get more specific on like roommates and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Can we all see that? Hopefully we can. Perfect.
Yes.
Oh, let me see if I can shift this. Now there's a way to move it down somewhere. Can I drag it? Yes, I can. Perfect. Okay, so as you can see here, this is our main website. If you have a hard time specifically finding the website, I just like to go do a quick Google search. DU Housing, usually it's the first link, and this should pop up. As you can see here, apply for housing. So depending if you're an incoming student, a continuing student, or a graduate student, it'll indicate you where to go ahead and select. For this purpose, we're just going to say it's an incoming first year international student. So we're going to go ahead and click there. As you can see here, you're going to gather all of the information you need regarding our housing requirements. We also have information about our two-year live-on requirement. And then I know a question was regarding roommate matching. We actually have a great video. Oopsie. Let me go back. We have a great video link on how to go about that processing within our system software. We provide really important dates because we are deadline driven. Any application in adulthood really it has to deal with deadlines. So making sure you follow our deadlines is very, very critical to make sure you just trickle smoothly through our housing processing. Once you go ahead and are able to start applying for an application, you're going to go to our housing portal, which this is kind of what it's going to look like. At this point in time, you have started your application, you have created an account within our system, and you're going to go ahead and just go to your application. This is a testing file, so it might look a little gnarly. But essentially, whenever you apply, you want to look at the academic year that you apply, right? There's also separate terms. So we have fall, winter, and spring. So for example, if you're an incoming student for the winter and spring terms, the application's the same, the whole processing system. The only difference is obviously the application specifically is for those terms. For these purposes, obviously, let's just pretend we're doing 24-25. We go ahead and select our application. I have already kind of filled it out through our testing, but essentially it's just going to ask you personal details and emergency contact. For any emergency purposes, we just want to know whom to contact. We ask you to upload a picture. Maybe you don't want to, but that's an option. We have different housing options, obviously, for gender inclusive housing, if that's something you're interested in. It doesn't have to be a thing, though, if you're not interested in. Profile, so it asks you pictures like, what time do you sleep? Do you like your roommates to be noisy? Do you like it messy? Do you like it clean? So on and so forth. We also have now a tab for accommodations. So typically students with accommodations, it's a partnership between our application as well as working with Student Disability Services. So it is two departments that you are working with thoroughly in order to have this section filled out, but we have that as well. And obviously, once you go ahead and fill out your entire application, we do ask you to sign that contract. One caveat though, I do tell students, if you're on the fence of, considering off-campus housing, then maybe try to really navigate that decision, because once you fully submit and sign a contract with RDU housing, it's very, very difficult to get out of it, just because it is considered a legal document. So I really always ask folks to consider like your various options before you sign any type of document ever. That's not just for our housing, just anything in general. Definitely consider your options before signing any documentation. And then after that, obviously room selection. That video that I showed you all earlier, links, really shows you a detailed process of how to go about that. If that's not something you're interested, not a problem, you just don't fill it out and you keep on moving forward. In this example for testing, I did select gender inclusive, but I'm not going to go into detail for that. But yeah, those are the two main caveats for our processing, really. Our main website is where you go find the application, find a couple of other details, for example, places to live. In this particular experience, we're talking about a first year. So we have places to live. You want to look at first year resident halls. It kind of gives you and shares a couple of details of our buildings. It allows you to explore a little bit. We provide a little bit of information about these specific buildings. For some of the buildings, we do have a couple of tour videos. We have features, dimensions, what the mailing addresses look like. We have photo galleries. So the website is my favorite thing to really refer to students when they have questions. We have important dates, similar to kind of the dates here. Important dates are more like of a general sense. We have important dates for all of our academic years, essentially. We have housing deadlines. Again, we're very deadline driven. Yeah, those are a couple of things that I really like to point out too. Last thing but not least, I'm very big on finances and budgeting, right? I want to make sure I'm able to budget accordingly. So I also refer students to our room and meal plan rates, because this tool will allow you to see how much it will cost you to live at DU in one of the facilities. It's very detail oriented. And the purposes for this example, if you're a first year, you obviously want to look at resident halls, and it gives you, again, specific details for each building and what that essential economic factor is going to look like for you, as well as meal plans. Meal plans are specifically for first year and transfer students, as well as second years. They are required to have a meal plan. There are ways out of a meal plan, but that's a different conversation. And typically it's a whole process because of medical or other factors that we have to review and consider. But typically you're going to get a meal plan if you're second year transfer student or first year. And same thing, we do have 3 different meal plan options specifically for DU housing residents. And it'll give you the breakdown of how much it's going to cost you and what that meal plan essentially provides you, so on and so forth. I don't know if I missed any questions that I can reiterate.
Thank you so much for that detailed overview, Jessica. And just on the topic of deadlines, are there any deadlines that you wish to highlight to our incoming students?
Yeah, for first year students, important deadlines would be July 14th. If you are looking to do a priority deadline, so submitting your housing application, that would be the day you want to do it. July 14th, 2024, as well as those students that have any type of medical or mental health accommodations. Please work with Student Disability Services, get your accommodations approved prior to June 14th. That way we have that in our file, in our system, and when it comes time to placing you, we have that information that we need in order to properly assess your assignment for the academic year. As well as roommates, if you are seeking to look for a roommate, please try to utilize our system. That video, again, going back to it, is a great way for you to kind of visually see step by step how you want to go about that, and then have that created and verified by June 14th. So June 14th is a really big ringer deadline for our first years. And then housing assignments, once you go through that entire process, is going to be released on July 30th. So that's when officially students are going to know where they were assigned within our campus and institution, specifically for first years.
Excellent, amazing.
Of course, yeah.
So Julie, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm curious, what's your go-to dining hall meal on campus?
Yeah, of course, I'm happy to be here. So we have 7 different stations at the dining hall, and I usually just go to stir fry just because we have a lot of options. We can pick our vegetables and our proteins and our carbs, so rice or noodles, and I think that's really versatile. And it has a lot of allergy alerts. So if you have an allergy, you're just, you can just pick whatever you want. I also go to pasta, or usually now I think Italian food because we also have risotto now. They have a lot of options every day, and yeah, it's just a really good place to be.
Yes, stir fry station is one of my personal favorites as well. And then in terms of taking care of one's laundry, where do you do your laundry on campus?
So I live in Towers, and we have like a laundry room downstairs on the first floor. And so every week I would just bring my laundry down and then do it in there. They have the dryer and the washer, so I don't have to worry about anything.
That's amazing. You don't even have to step off campus.
Yeah, exactly.
And then in terms of your room in the residence hall, what's included in there?
So I'm currently a second year student, so my room is a bit different from maybe like resident halls for first year. But essentially, my rooms include 2 beds because I live with a roommate. We have 2 beds, two like desk for the both of us, and we have each of us have a closet. My room also came with like a kitchen next to it because I live in Towers, and we have 2 room is joint with a kitchen. So the kitchen has refrigerator, there's a stove if you want to cook anything, there's a microwave, which I think is included in like every first year room. And we also have our bathroom inside our room and a shower room inside.
Super cool. And you mentioned that there's a kitchen in your kind of apartment setup. Is that
Yeah.
something you and your roommates use often, or do you prefer to just kind of get food on campus from one of those 7, 9 restaurants you mentioned?
I really like cooking, and so for me, I use it quite a lot. But at the same time, when you got like your lap is late and you get home, it's really tiring to just cook. And so a lot of the times, I would also just go to the dining hall because especially we have late nights that serve from 6, my bad, 8:30 to 10,
Mm,
and the late nights are from Monday to Thursday, and there's a lot of like options. There every day, every late night is like a different thing. We have breakfast food and we have tacos, and I think we also have like pasta as well. And so
Mhm.
having the option of a dining hall is really convenient.
Awesome. Yes, I love having breakfast for dinner every once in a
Exactly,
while.
yeah.
And speaking of late snacks, what's the best late snack on campus or near
Mm.
campus?
I mean, late night is always an option in the dining hall, but also when you're not feeling like in the dining hall, I think we have a lot of like variety for like food outside, like close on campus. My go-to is usually Fat Shack just because it's right there and it is practically known for having like late night foods for student. Like it was on like Shark Tank, which was really
Mm,
cool. And that was really fun. And when I first got to college, my friend we always would go to like insomnia cookies, which is, I guess, really on point for college students because they
mm,
open until 3 a.m. And we would just have cookies there with like a warm milk. And that would be like a really nice late night snack if you're too tired from like studying.
amazing. Or if you need a pick me up to keep on
Exactly.
going
Yeah.
through. And what would you say is the coolest hangout spot on campus?
Ooh. Um, that's a bit hard because I think that a lot of me and my friends, we usually hang out in like one of our friends' room, or in every dorm, there's like a lounge area with a pool table, and we usually would hang out there as well. I would also when the weather is nice, we went outside and lay on the grass. We have a lot of green area on campus that are just absolutely amazing to just lie on when it's like sunny outside and want to tan. And it was with the Colorado weather with a slight breeze, it would be just absolutely perfect to be outside.
Yes, that sounds great, especially a wonderful way to finish out the year or
Exactly.
just to
Yes.
hang out with
Spring is
friends.
here.
Yes, definitely excited about that.
Yeah.
And in terms of packing for our future students thinking about
Mhm.
joining us, do you have any tips for them?
Mhm. Hmm. I probably would say that maybe don't pack too heavily, especially if you're thinking of bringing like a fan or like a vacuum. Maybe don't bring those just because you can always borrow the vacuum from the front desk in every like dorm you're living in. And also with you bringing so many stuff in, it's going to be really hard to like carry them away or store away at the end of the year. So maybe don't pack too bulk is what I would probably would say.
Excellent tip. Yeah, and we have lots of different stores nearby where
Mhm.
if you do forget something, you are able to
Yeah.
quickly stop by and get whatever you need.
Yeah. And for the global ambassador, we have an international, like I think Walmart or Target run at the beginning of the year. So if
Mhm.
you're an international student, then don't worry because you're gonna get a Target run with us and just get to see the what Target is like.
That's right. That's right. And when thinking back to your first year at DU, uh, do any favorite memories jump at you?
Um, my favorite memory of my first year would probably be one of the great tradition that I think DU has, which is going to see the hockey game between DU and the Colorado College.
Mm,
Specifically at the Ball Arena Avenue because that's like the big concert or like a big avenue for sport events, concerts, and we get to go for free as students. And it was just a really fun event to go with all of your friends, like even other family members and other Colorado citizens who like just love hockey would be there as well to cheer for DU or whoever school they're cheering for. And it was a really fun tradition to be with.
thank you for sharing that. Yes, I got the opportunity to attend myself last year, and you are
Yes.
absolutely right. We hopped on the light rail and just
Exactly. Yeah.
10-15 minutes away, we were
Yeah.
right
It's
there.
also super convenient because as student, we have our TD or the light rail pass. And so we can just hop on the train and get there in like 15 minutes with our friends.
That's right. And thank you so much, Julie, for sharing those lovely answers. I'd
Of
also
course.
like to send a shout out to our colleagues at Housing and Residential Education for joining us and for sharing these wonderful tips. And always, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to our International Admission Office at intladm@du.edu. And we look forward to hopefully welcoming you to the DU community this fall quarter.